Okay, so I think we're going to get started here. Welcome to Employee Transportation Coordinator Basic Training. If you have any questions about the training, please follow up with the chat button located on my screen. And my colleague Kobe, the chat button is on the top left, and my colleague Kobe will be able to respond. So if you have any questions throughout the process, just ping Kobe, and we'll be able to follow up in the middle of it. Otherwise, we're hoping to address most of the basic questions about the commute trip reduction program within the survey or within the webinar, and how to survey and how to set up your program report. So without any further ado, I'll get going. So we'll cover what is commute trip reduction, your role as employee transportation coordinator, survey and program reports, and best practices. We'll finish up at the end with a short question and answer session. So who is Commute Seattle? We are what's called a TMA, a Transportation Management Association. We are a public-private partnership between Seattle Department of Transportation, King County Metro, Sound Transit, and the Downtown Seattle Association. Our mission is to foster mobility partnerships and services that keep Seattle moving and thriving for all. So the commute trip reduction program works with large businesses on transportation management programs, relocation assistance, launching normal and annual sort of transportation programs and events. We also have been working a little bit more with pilot programs to offer a similar type of transportation engagement in regions throughout Seattle, South Lake Union, Rainier Valley, Soto, and International District, and mainly we've been focusing on ORCA sales and pre-tax outreach. And the goal is basically large companies throughout Seattle have the ability to make a large impact on transportation programs. We work with several 100,000 people a year by working with large businesses. Those are something that smaller businesses don't necessarily always have access to, so we're trying to promote that more. We also have some fee-for-service work, mainly around relocation these days, but if you'd like to talk to us more about that afterwards, you can email Kobe or me, and we'll follow up with our emails and further information on that after the webinar. So commute trip reduction is working in Seattle. If you've been here for a little bit, you would know that Seattle's been growing since 2010. About 262,000 people have been moving to the area. We've had a large growth in jobs in downtown, and yet the opposite of what people would expect is happening. The drive alone rate, which would be the share of drivers coming to downtown, is down to about 25%. From 2010, that is almost a 10% drop. And then what that means is that more jobs and increased use in transit and transportation alternatives correlate to each other. So if we have more ways of getting downtown and there are more people willing to fill jobs down here, then we're trying to provide other options for those people that get here, because driving can be a little intense especially if you have family, you're on a tighter budget, you're looking for another way to get to downtown and get to your job. And employers are starting to take notice. So In general, this is the breakdown of how people are getting to downtown. Almost half of the commuters are coming by transit, that's light rail or bus service. Rideshare is 10%, walking is 8%, bike 3% and growing, and then telework would be coming in at number 6. About, like I said, about a quarter of people are driving to work. So what are the daily commuter trends? All those numbers worked out to about 41,000 people coming to work on buses or light rail. And about 2,500 are coming in by bike. About 6,500 are coming in through some other means. It's important to note that the drive alone rate has been dropping. So part of the work that allows that to happen is commute trip reduction. And that's, again, what large employers are doing in the city of Seattle to address basically the traffic problem and trying to solve how people are getting to work. So what is CTR? It's a city and state law. It was originally passed through the Clean Air Act in the early 90s. It targets large work sites, so it's typically 100 or plus employees. They survey every 2 years, and they submit a program report every 2 years. Basically, all it requires is a good faith effort in transportation programs to allow people to have different ways of commuting into work. Other than that, it's the survey report and the program report. So who's affected? Like I said, if you have 100 or more people coming to work at peak hours, which is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and they're people who work for 12 or more months of consecutive months. So it doesn't really qualify for interns. Typically, it doesn't qualify for contractors. But it's anybody who's coming into work between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. What is required from a CTR company? First, they designate an employee transportation coordinator. That is some of you who are on the phone, or maybe you'll be assigning another person to take care of these tasks. You administer the survey and the program report. You inform employees twice per year or over an intranet site about your transportation programs, and you provide commuter benefits, let them know about current events that are going on, that kind of thing. So Seattle is a changing landscape, and some people have more access to transit than others. There are 8 networks for which goals have been set for the drive alone rate in those networks. You'll notice that at the top of the city in the north is Northgate. They have a 69% drive alone rate. That means that they have less access to transit. They have essentially it's a more lenient drive alone rate than for downtown, which has been designated at 20%, and that's because there's the most access to transit infrastructure in that area. Don't memorize these just yet. The city will be changing these goals in 2019. For most of the city, north and south, they'll look more or less the same, but South Lake Union, downtown, and mainly those will have more specific goals for which region they are in. So let's talk about you. As you are the employee transportation coordinator, or you'll be supervising an employee transportation coordinator. You administer the survey, the program report, distribute commute information, and attend Commute Seattle programs and trainings. Our programs and trainings range on best practices in telework, bicycle infrastructure, parking management programs, the new tech services that are coming online that can help employers manage their parking programs, provide ride share, that kind of thing. essentially, you're the person at your company who is the contact for transportation services. And if new employees are getting onboarded, you're a resource for them, and you help them find their way around. If there are new employees starting the job market and they're new to the area, then you're someone who can provide a little bit of information. Or you're working with HR to help implement new policies, or you're working with finance to provide information. You might not be the expert in some of these things, but you have access, which is us and SDOT and Metro, to make sure that these employees have the information they need, and your employer has access to best practices. So administering the CTR survey. The employee commuter surveys come around once every 2 years. Some of the people on this call are new sites, and they're going through their baseline survey. And other sites and other people on this call are new to the CTR program. So we'll go over a little bit on how to use the online tool, how employees get access to it. In general, you should know that the survey lasts for about 2 weeks, which means you have 2 weeks to administer the survey and reach a minimum of 50% response rate. 70% is ideal because minimum response, if you don't meet that 50% response rate, you'll have to survey again. So the first steps are, first we'll send you a link to a SurveyMonkey when it's time to schedule your survey. You'll notify your employees and supervisors that the survey is coming. You'll send them reminders. We'll shoot for that 70% response rate. After 2 weeks, it closes, and then WashDOT, SDOT, and Commute Seattle process the results. Pretty straightforward. And we even type up all the emails to remind employees and provide them to your supervisors. You can use them or not. We just try to lower the barriers for you. There are 2 ways of accessing the survey. The first is the upload access, and the second is domain access. We really recommend the upload access. And essentially, if you have a list of all your emails of the people in your company, you will upload them to the Commute Trip Production Survey Tool, and then you'll send out the notification to survey with an access to the link to fill out the survey, and basically the CTR tool will track who has surveyed. Who has surveyed, so you know where you're at with your response rate. The other way of accessing the survey is with domain access. This is if employees do not have an email, and this just designates a domain that any email address can use. So for example, if you're Starbucks and your domain is starbucks.com, anybody who writes anything before that @ symbol has access to Starbucks' survey. So it could be Sasquatch at starbucks.com. It could be Elvis is alive and well at starbucks.com. It's not a real email, it's just a real domain. The only problem with this is, since you didn't upload the emails beforehand, you don't have a report of who has taken the survey and who has not. So the domain access is very versatile if you don't have access to your employee emails. However, upload access allows you to run a more targeted report on who has surveyed and who has not. This is the main interface to the beautiful CTR program tool, created in the 90s and still alive and kicking today. It gives you what you need, although it's not the most beautiful user experience. this is what you'll see when you log into your CTR survey. And we provide you, if you haven't received it already, you will for the spring survey, basically the login access to this WashDOT tool. So the second tab there is the CTR survey. This is your basic dashboard, and we blacked out the names of the company that we're using as an example. But their survey has been scheduled for the first week in April, or no, sorry, the third week in April. They have an upload list button, and as soon as they upload those emails to the list, or to the company website there, then at 0 will quickly become, looks like this company has 800 employees about. And you'll be able to track, or basically track those employees who have surveyed within the survey reports button in the bottom left. This is a lot of information, so we've compiled it all on our website. It's commuteseattle.com/CTR/survey. And essentially we have little videos on how to upload those tools. We have an Excel sheet for making sure you can bulk upload your employee emails to the CTR survey tool. And we have some information on best practices on how to do that. Once the survey has been completed, it will be sent to WashDOT for processing, and they'll come out with this wonderful little PDF report. And what you're looking at on the left there is the mode split for the employees who surveyed. So it looks like for this particular company, 53% drove alone. The second largest commuting share was bike share at 13.2, and the third is walk at 10.3. Basically, it's a good report for doing some basic level analysis on where your employees are coming from, what they rely on for getting to work, and how to tweak your programs to best fit your employees and meet your targets. This summer, we'll be releasing this tool on the right, and it's basically we've taken that report, and Commute Seattle in partnership with Tableau has basically created an online dashboard so you can analyze this information in a more visual format. You'll be able to send this to your leadership to let them know what their commuting trends are, and hopefully use it as a way to invest in further transportation resources. We'll be offering some trainings on that once the tool is up and ready to go. And like I said, we're shooting for summer for that. Okay, so program report. The program report is the other requirement other than the survey that you'll need to complete. The survey is typically done in odd years, and program reports are filled out in even years around the fall. So again, in the summer, we'll be working with you to complete the program reports. Essentially, it's a questionnaire that's filled out every other year on the transportation benefits and infrastructure that you provide for employees. And essentially, we're looking for basic information, bike infrastructure, if you provide a transit subsidy, how much do you provide, how is information distributed to employees, whether it's on an intranet site or some sort of dashboard available to other employees. And we're looking for basically you to tell us what's going on and what you offer. So let's just dive into best practices real quick. And this is a very high overview of what we recommend. If there's anything in the next few slides that you'd like to dive into more, we're here to talk about it whenever you'd like. So parking, there's a lot of parking going on in the city, but less so in downtown, more so in outer areas. We highly recommend that you charge for parking. If you offer monthly rates, consider switching to daily rates so people can make that decision every day. set parking policies and signage to encourage vanpool and carpool. And there's other companies in the city that are doing something called parking cash outs. And those are paying people for their parking spaces, basically paying for them not to park. Transit is obviously more of a growing mode in the city, and we're one of the highest use transit cities in the States. We recommend using pre-tax benefits. Get in touch with those if you don't know what those are. Get in touch with us if you don't know what those are or would like to explore that more. Orca Business Passport is what we, or any Orca product is what we recommend. Business Passport is the universal pass. And ensure that HR penalties don't penalize employees who take transit. And we've been trying to, essentially that means allowing people the flexibility to be maybe slightly late when their bus is not arriving on time. Walking and biking, there's basic infrastructure for this, allowing access to showers and lockers, visible bike racks and cages. Ensure that everyone has access to it. We had an employee, for example, in our office who just joined us about 2 months ago, and it took her a month to find out that we had a bike locker in our building. So that's bad practice on our part, and we're supposed to be the experts. Just making sure that that information is well known and out there. Telework and compressed work week. Essentially, telework is a very common policy and practice that's available out there. Not every company, while a lot of companies do offer the tech infrastructure for it, there's a lot of soft policies that don't encourage it. Ultimately, we have some best practices out there, but telework can be a tough one for companies, especially as they transition into new telework programs and policies. Compressed work week is very interesting. We've been seeing more of that happen as we explore the data visualizations that we've been checking out. One tech company we were working with recently found that they have a very high telework and compressed work week rate because their lowest mileage was happening on Fridays. So a lot of people use that as a flex day or a day that they can just work from home. So Commute Seattle, we work on some of the events that are going on. May is Bike to Work Month, and we've been working with employee transportation coordinators to make sure that cyclists can organize into teams. Please check out Bike Everywhere Day on May 18th. Bike Everywhere Month is sponsored by, is being run by Cascade Bicycle Club. So check out the Cascade Bicycle Club website and engage your employees for the teams there. We also have some Bike 101s, which is the very intro level, this is how to use a bike, this is some basic bike maintenance stuff, and we'll be having that available in April and May. So we'll be sending out some more information on that. We also have some seminars coming up. There's a telework seminar, and we'll have some employers who have really exemplified good telework policies present on their practices. Then we'll also be talking a little bit more about Ride Transit Month.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'd like to open it up for.
I think everybody was going to watch their own.